All right, the Detroit Lions signed 2 offensive weapons. They did not address the offensive line yet, but they signed 2 skill position players. Let's take a look at it. First one that is kind of exciting to me, probably more than it should be, is they signed Kenny Yeboah. Kenny Yeboah. More of a blocking tight end, but he'll come in. Sam Laporta, Brock Wright. Sorry, I'll go back. He's the guy coming in motion. More of a blocking tight end. Big guy, younger, been with the Jets for 4 years. Somebody that can come in and be that third tight end that we need. We need 3 tight ends. James Mitchell, remember we drafted him. He had the injuries. He just never really got there. And then Shane Zylstra, same thing. Just never really. Zylstra's not really somebody. He's not really a blocking tight end, not really a receiving tight end, kind of caught in the middle. So this completes that. So offensive line we'll talk about in a minute. We'll talk about the tight end room is just kind of set, which is great. And then the other signing, we'll get back to that in just a second, but Tim Patrick signs. This is great because it's just with the change in the offensive coordinator, it's nice to have Tim Patrick, who knows the offensive coordinator, just some more continuity on the offensive side of the ball because it was so good last year. We cannot forget that. We're going to run the ball. That's why I'll get back to Kenny, our new tight end here in just a second. I can't think of his last name. But if you look, you've got Tim Patrick, who I think is just great because he was our starting X receiver. Took him really half the season to kind of figure out, kind of get back from injury. You know, it was one of those, like, man, he's going to be good, right? And then all of a sudden he did. He came on and really was a big piece of what we were doing at the end of the year. So as a big body option who plays physical enough to go over the middle, he alleviated pressure off of Amon-Ra and Sam Laporta while opened up opportunities for Jameson Williams. So, I mean, just look at those 4 guys right there. That's our receiving core, skill position, our weapons are Tim Patrick, love it. And a veteran guy, but 6'4", 212, exactly what you want outside. Amon-Ra's just a beast. Sam Laporta, beast. Jameson Williams, who just keeps getting better. We can talk about him forever. Like, there's so many things to talk about him, positive, negative, however you want. He's just a polarizing player. The facts are, dude's unreal. I mean, he really is. So it's awesome. And so here's what it looks like now is that the Lions have their top 4 receivers from 2024 back. They need to fill kind of the other wide receiver roles with maybe Tyler Lockett, Brandon Cooks. I don't know. However, the draft, I think, is where we're going to start seeing some different options being thrown around for wide receiver. I think defensive end, we keep talking about that. We'll talk about that forever. Defensive end and wide receiver could be a great spot for us to really get younger and use some of our draft picks. So remember, the Lions are in a really good spot draft pick-wise. You can look at some other teams out there that, man, don't have a third or don't have a second, or they only have 5 picks. All said and done, all the trades we made last year. Remember, we moved up for Terrion Arnold. We moved up for Giovanni Manu. We did a lot of moving up, and yet we're still sitting really nice. And I think one of the key pieces is the comp pick right here for Aaron Glenn. This 4th-round pick was from a trade from DeAndre Swift a couple years ago. That's just like, it was like a future 4th, and you just kind of forget about it. Well, boom, just like that. We're in that. Here it is. So those 2 picks saved us. I mean, huge. Because otherwise we would have went 1, 2, and then 6th round pick. Like, these 2 picks are huge. And so when you look at these top 4 rounds, that's where the Lions can go interior offensive line, edge, wide receiver. You can see some of the different players that Tankathon's recommending there, or that, you know, predicting. That's where it's going to be. So Kenny Yeboah, tight end, we round that off. We'll look for some depth pieces, fine. Wide receiver, pretty much set. We'll look for some depth pieces, fine. What we really need to focus on now, I would think, is grabbing one more guard or an interior offensive lineman. And so here are the best players still available. And here's the one where it's like, man, I don't know what's going on here. He must be asking for a lot of money because Brandon Scherf, 33 years old, started coming off his third straight 17-game season with the Jags. 5-time Pro Bowler. It fits kind of what we have or what we need, and that's what the Zeitler did last year for us, was this exact thing. Older, need 1 year from you. I would throw him some money and go for it. Unless Graham Glasgow, you got to figure that out. But I think Graham would be a great backup. I mean, honestly, a backup center, a backup guard, wouldn't that be nice to have? Or, yeah, that would be ideal. So we'll see what happens there. Defensive end wise, too, Zadarius Smith is still out there. There's no reason we couldn't re-sign him, but I don't think you do. But there's some big names still out there, but it's kind of past that first wave, and now we'll focus on some other guys, for sure. And defensive, offensive guard is where it's like, what are we? Interior offensive line is what I would like to see us do next, but we'll see. I was just looking at this too the other day. This is the 2024 schedule and how the Lions lost 2 games. By a total of 8 points. What an incredible season. Just such a bummer, right? And just so awesome these last 3 games were so epic too. Because you run into Buffalo, fine. You lose a game. In the first game, you lost in 10 games. But then you go smash Chicago, at Chicago, division game. They're trying anything to win. We're running fake plays. Then you go to San Fran, all the way out there, nothing to play for, whatever that was. Beat those guys when they wanted to beat us so bad, and then Minnesota just killed them, everything on the line. It's just, we're always looking forward to the next thing, but it's just epic. Crush Seattle, crush Dallas, close win at Minnesota, crush Tennessee, crushed Green Bay. I mean, we were just, and then Jacksonville destroyed. Indianapolis destroyed. We only had like 5 even games. This is a good team. We're going to be fine. And there's Mahogany right there. That's what I was bringing up was Mahogany, Wingo. I think these guys are going to play a huge part for us. Kind of forget about them. Vaki. I would love for him to, it's just like, what's his role? Especially we got Craig Reynolds back. It's like, what is his role? I don't know. I'd like to see. And then Manu, this is his year to, all right, you had a redshirt year last year. Let's go. Need you. And by the way, this 2023 draft, just epic. Those top 4 picks are unbelievable. Okay. Oh, man. So cool. So, all right, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't, and we'll see all of you on the next one.